A very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us at the 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight with me, Wadulo, Mark, Arnold, Mugalo Muhammad on sign language. It's now time for the headlines before we start the bulletin.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Orthodox Church Pope urges Ugandans to observe SOPs. Premier Nabanja urges Elgon residents to plant trees. Pope Francis summons all bishops worldwide for a meeting. And Uganda wins East Africa Junior Tennis Championship under 12.
Was brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN.
Once again, it's the news tonight on your national broadcaster UBC. We now take you to the news in detail. The Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has advised persons living in steep and hilly areas around the country to plant trees around hilly sides to control the landslides. The Premier was visiting Bududa district after reports of landslides around Mount Elgon area. She said that those living in ecologically delicate areas should be relocated to safer areas, as these details are sharing with us.
Bulucheke sub-county of Bududa district is again in the news for wrong reasons. The area early this week experienced landslides again. The early morning incident damaged residents' gardens, houses and roads, though this time round there were no deaths. On learning about the landslides, Prime Minister Robin Nabanja visited the area for a quick assessment and possible intervention. The Premier physically walked through muddy and narrow path for close to an hour, assessing the extent of damage and impact on residents. The Premier advised residents to voluntarily vacate the area to safer places as government prepares for long-lasting solutions. Later, a community meeting was held in which political leaders led by the area woman member of parliament, Agnes Nandutu, explained to the Premier their plight and suggested possible solutions. Residents expressed the desire to shift to safer places within Bugisu, but not to far away places.
Look for some comfortable accommodation within the lowlands here so that these people can stay around. Because some fear going to Giriandongo, because I'm told some people have even escaped from there and come back because the weather is not favorable for them there. So let's settle them within the lowlands in Bududa district. Thank you.
And Honorable Prime Minister, some of our people were transferred to Kiriandongo, but on a sad note, we have got reports that some of those people have been murdered under unclear circumstances in Kiriandongo. It is upon this background that we seek your intervention to ensure that our people who have been relocated are secure.
Kati waliwo kye mwogedde wano kyendabanga mu butuufu muli batuufu kubanga nali mulamutye eri ebulambuuli mulamutye nendaba engeri gye baasetulingamu abantu naye ng'ate wano waliwo chairman Rusisiri obaaliwa yankubidde simu n'agamba maama nawana ettaka weeriri abantu basobola tuguza era ne tusalamu nga bwe bakoze mulambuti eri gye bali. So I will prevail over as a Prime Minister, and we do this.
Premier Nabanja asked the State Minister for Water and Environment, Aisha Sechindi, and the area leaders to spearhead a tree planting exercise to control landslides around hilly areas. Later, Premier Nabanja headed to Buyende district, where residents living around Lake Kyoga are affected by the rising water levels.
In Nkone here, they have accepted, the minister has accepted to help us operate some 2 health center tools. In Kakuru, we have a health center too. In Gumpi, no health unit at all. It is 0. In Indorwa, no health unit. When you go to Buyanja, no health unit. You go to Chidena Sub County, no health unit. We are breaking it there. We are using the money to start building smaller OPDs for health center tools.
I'm just requesting you to come to my office and onkobe nendo onkobere ebitundu betwenda okutamu amaadde ago.
Gavumenti yaffe ya NRM ng'ekulembebwa President Museveni bagambye muleke tulabe nga tulabirira obutonde bw'ensi. Obutonde bw'ensi kye kituwa enkuba ate ne tweyagalira mu nkuba ate ne tukola kino nakiri tusobola okubeerawo.
During the meeting with Buyende community, 2 National Unity Platform members took advantage of the Premier's visit to convert to NRM. The Premier visited Bukungu landing site, where fishermen narrated their experiences in the sector, including the need for an ice plant.
Yabawanga risiti nazo kati olete photocopy abantu balekera original zaabwe nja mukwata waba yajja wano nabba ajja kusasula mwe muterekera risiti zaabwe.
Also financially empowered small-scale business persons in both Bududa and Buyende. Helen Barbara Jizamba reporting for UBC TV News.
The Patriarch of Alexandria and the whole Africa, Pope Theodore II, has presided over a memorial mass and prayer service in honor of the late Archbishop of the Orthodox Church of Uganda, Metropolitan John Lwanga, at the St. Nicholas Orthodox Cathedral Church in Namuona. Pope Theodore II was received by believers and friends of the Orthodox Cathedral Church in Namuona.
It is the tradition of the Orthodox Church to hold a commemorative service for a loved one after a period of 40 days after death. A commemorative mass officiated by Pope Theodore II of Alexandria and the whole of Africa at St. Nicholas Orthodox Cathedral Namungona has been held for the late Archbishop Metropolitan John Lwanga, who passed on in Athens, Greece on 5th of September at the age of 76. Pope Theodore II bestowed the honor of Archimandrite rights to Reverend Nectorius Kabuye, honor given to unmarried people in the Orthodox Church. His His Beatitude Pope Theodore II commended President Museveni for the cordial treatment accorded to him since his arrival. He also hailed the late John Lwanga for the love he had for his country and religion.
Μέσα από τα βάθη της καρδιάς μου, να εκφράσω τις θερμές ευχαριστίες στον πρόεδρο της Ουγκάντας, ο οποίος με υπεδέχθη και με περιέβαλε με πολύ αγάπη. Τον ευχαριστώ για την φιλοξενία του, για την υποστήριξη και την αγάπη του προς την Ορθόδοξη Εκκλησία, τη Μητρόπολη Καμπάλας, αλλά και στο Πατριαρχείο μας.
All of the discriminative of religion and right.
Ο δεύτερος λόγος είναι να τελέσω το μνημόσυνο του Μητροπολίτου Ιωνά, του δικού σας ανθρώπου. Ο μακαριστός Ιωνάς ήταν γενναίος άνθρωπος, που πάλεψε με τις ασθένειες και τις δοκιμασίες, βγαίνοντας πάντοτε νικητής. Ένας άνθρωπος που ανάλωσε τη ζωή του στην Ιεραποστολή και στη μόρφωση των παιδιών. Αγαπούσε τον συνάνθρωπο, υπηρέτησε τις πονεμένες ψυχές και αγωνίστηκε για τη δικαιοσύνη και την ειρήνη. Ο μακαριστός ήθελε πάντοτε να είστε υπερήφανοι για την πατρίδα σας και την καταγωγή σας.
My second humble reason why I visited Uganda is to celebrate the memorial service of our dearest Bishop and Metropolitan John Lwanga. You person who always fought with illness and many other challenges and became not a winner always. He lived in his life a foreign mission. He loved fellow humanists. He served the needy and souls that were in pain and struggled for justice and peace.
Vice President Major Jessica Alupo represented President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the event, also attended by the government chief whip Thomas Tayebwa, the clergy, politicians and delegates from Buganda government.
Metropolitan Archbishop John Lwanga was a good shepherd. In the Gospel according to John chapter 10 verses 11 to 18, our Lord Jesus Christ talks about the qualities of a good shepherd, and he says, the good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep.
The Speaker of Buganda's Parliament, Patrick Luwaga Mugumbule, represented the Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, and recorded remarkable moments about John Lwanga. His Beatitude opened the Orthodox Secretariat building, lay a memorial stone, and planted a tree in memory of the late John Lwanga. Pope Theodore II is to meet the President this Monday before proceeding to Tanzania for official duties. Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Summoned all bishops across the world for a synod convention scheduled for October 2023 to be held in Rome. This communication has also been disclosed by the Uganda Episcopal Conference chairperson Dr. Anthony Ziwa while presiding over a Sunday Mass at Mityana Cathedral in Mityana Diocese.
The Sunday prayers at Chinda Mityana Cathedral was led by the chairperson of the Episcopal Conference of Uganda, Bishop Dr. Anthony Ziwa. Among the congregants of the day was the Minister for Lands, Judith Nabakoba, who was flanked by Mityana Municipality Member of Parliament, Francis Zakebutebi. Bishop Anthony Ziwa, who is the diocesan overseer, delivered the pontific's message.
Mu mwezi guno ogw'Oktoba 2021 tuggulawo olugendo lwa synod lwe tulimaliriza n'olukiiko lw'abepisikoopi e Roma mu Oktoba 2022 2023.
The Bishops' Convention, happening in October 2023, will run on the theme, The Church Built on the Synod of Communion, Participation and Evangelization.
Papa atuwadde theme egamba bweti. Kereziya eri ku sinodi mu bumu, okwetaba n'obutume.
I want to thank the Bishop for the message. First of all, he brought us the message from the Pope, which message was timely, preparing the different communities to be ready when the different people come for consultations in regard to the different issues that will be disclosed maybe in the few weeks to come.
In line with the theme, Bishop Anthony Ziwa challenged leaders at all levels to serve mankind above self.
Oba tuli batume, oba tuli bagoberezi ba Kristo, ate Kristo nga ye bw'atugambye nti ye teyajja kuweerezebwa wabula okuweereza. Naffe tubenga tuweereza Katonda waffe ne bantu bannaffe.
As a leader, I think the Bishop gave us the best communication today, that as leaders we are supposed to be servants, we are not supposed to be bosses, we are supposed to be workers of the people. Let us do what is right, let us do what we think that is what is supposed to be done, and that's what the people expect out of us.
Of course, we've been urged to remain calm, but also remain in contact with our people to make sure that we serve them better, but also understand their concerns. That is a timely message to all leaders. And I believe even we've been hearing His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, urging us to be in touch with the communities, to understand the problems of the people and be in position to develop solutions together, guide our communities, guide them on the different government interventions.
It was during the same Mass that preparations for the 40th pastoral celebrations for the diocese were announced. These are slated for 21st next month and will be partly scientific. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Mityana.
The Premier Nabanja has this Sunday attended Mass with the Dominican Sisters of St. Catherine of Siena, where she also honored her 20 million pledge. Monsignor Wayanad Katende led the Mass and asked the Premier to serve Ugandans without any form of segregation, just like the way Jesus Christ did.
Prime Minister Robina Nabanja early this Sunday attended a Holy Mass with Dominican Sisters of St. Catherine of Siena, Namgongo. Monsignor Wayanad Katende led the Mass and prayed for the Premier and the entire national leadership. Monsignor Katende tasked Christians to always respect their masters and also serve those they've been assigned to lead without discrimination.
When Lucifer was appointed by God to be leader of all the angels in heaven, and you know angels were created by God to serve him. The most famous servants are Gabriel, who brought the good news of our salvation to Mary and Joseph. There's Michael, and many others, but of course those are the famous ones we know all. In other words, we also have guardian angels, by the way, serving God or serving us, appointed by God to serve us, to guard each one of us. So each one of us has a bodyguard in the form of an angel, guardian angel. These are all servants. So Lucifer said, no, enough of this, I will not serve. And of course, God had no alternative but to demote, not only to demote Lucifer, but also to expel.
Speaking to the congregation, Premier Nabanja asked Christians to continue observing SOPs while in church. Later, Premier Nabanja delivered the 20 million pledged earlier by the Office of the Prime Minister for the Church's charity works.
Last Friday, I was told that my requisition has gone through because I also have to request for anything that I want to donate. So, sister, here is the money. greetings from the President. He's aware I'm here, and he told me if you are ready, we shall organize a day so you can meet him like you requested the other time. As you are all aware, I know, like you told me.
Prioress Nabukela Lucy explained that Premier's donation is timely.
We are grateful for having prayed with our Honorable Minister, and in a special way for having fulfilled the pledge he had pledged some time back to support the congregation to be able to continue our mission, especially in the mission of the education of the youth, which we are carrying out as a congregation in Uganda.
Sisters, to pray with them, and also to pray for me, and pray for myself, pray for the country, so that we can have peace, so that I can perform my duties in accordance to the law, so that I can be guided once again. And I came basically to help them. Remember the other time they had the people who usually come here for support in terms of food. They need they look after here. So I brought some little food for them too, as support from my hands. But I'm also requesting my Undersecretary to make sure that they get more food, because this one is very limited. It is little.
Meanwhile, Chwan Kachiriowa chairperson Namgongo asked Premier to intervene on the 16-acre land disputes in his area.
Nga ebikumi bitano naye nga tetulina bulamu bukufuwa bwannannyini wetutudde. Tusaba ofisiyo okusobola okutuyamba tusobole okufuna obwannannyini wetutudde, tuleme kulabika ng'ate tuddukira mu ofisiyo ng'ababundabunda ng'ate tuli mu nsi eyaffe.
Later, Premier and her team were hosted for a luncheon with the church leadership. Helen Barbara Samba reporting for UBC TV News.
Uganda People's Defense Forces have warned leaders in Karamoja sub-region who incite violence among the locals. The 3rd Division spokesperson, Captain Edwin Mwawanda, urges leaders to cooperate with the security in the operation for a peaceful region. Now, this comes after a scuffle between Matheniko, Bokora, and Pian, and the other people from those interclans who were called to identify the stolen animals from those impounded from Matheniko, and instead they started throwing stones, which left 5 people bleeding, and the identification failed to go on.
In the month of August, September and early October, a number of livestock was raided from the district of Napak, especially in Lotome sub-county. Security organs, including UPDF, Anti-Stock Theft Unit and DISO, were also able to carry out an operation where over 1,000 assorted livestock from Kasin, Kodoyo and Kapantara, Kwagan parishes of Loputuk sub-county, Moroto district, were recovered. The Napak and Nabilituk communities were invited to identify their lost animals at Lokali near Nadunget in Moroto district. The people of Matheniko were not happy with the exercise.
We can go back and leave this animal with the UPDF and them. We can't sit down and discuss the issues of this animal, and we understand why the animal were impounded. The animal, we leave you with the animal and we go back with the community.
Tired. These cows have been pounded again. They brought here. And when they brought here, and we have never been taken to other places to identify animals.
It's always been in Matheniko. Not even recovering, but even taking away cows that were compensated in Matheniko.
Nevertheless, the chaos started before identification took place, and 5 people stoned and survived with injuries. Leaders from Napak say the Matheniko have been terrorizing them and they have lost a lot of cattle to them.
Because of the Bokwede, the Bokoloth were
raided and the footmarks raided in Madelinko. The 27th of September 2021, the 7 animals of Pastor Teko Michael were raided and the footmarks ended in Madelinko. On the 8th of October 2021, 26 animals of local police were raided and the animals and the footmarks entered in Madelinko. On the 14th of October 2021, 17 animals of Lokuru were raided.
That was all raids that we have registered from the town council, whereby most of the animals we have been losing have been coming this direction, the eastern direction. And previously there was a group of animals that were stolen, around 20 animals from the town council, leaving alone their past raids that we have not yet accounted.
Napak and Nabilituk leaders condemned the act of some leaders, especially from Moroto, who they allege to have incited violence among the people.
Leaders came and started inciting people. This confusion is totally from leaders. And in Karamoja raids will never end. If leaders themselves cannot liberate their minds, it is leaders, these elective leaders, that have brought all this.
We are taken aside by the UPDF. We saw the majority of the Madelinko surrounding us are exchanging bad words that if the animals happen to go to Napak, we are going to shed blood.
The LC5 councillor representing Loptuk sub-county in Moroto district, Rose Adelo Loki, apologized on behalf of Matheniko, who injured the Bokora and Pian.
I'm sorry, as a leader of Moroto, I'm sorry for my people have had. These 2 people of Napak who has been stoned. So that is a very simple reason. People should have been settled down, talked to, told the reason why their cows are here.
Meanwhile, UPDF warns leaders who incite violence among the locals that they will be detained.
Our leaders, they were trying to incite violence in the local people. So we as UPDF and our sister forces, whoever incite violence against our operation, we are going to arrest.
UPDF also urged the Karamojong to cooperate with security organs for a peaceful Karamoja.
We want the leaders, our local leaders, so that we can work together with them.
UPDF was forced to fire live bullets in the air to disperse agitated persons. Security also called leaders for a meeting during which it was resolved that identification be done at local. Moriniga, Helen Barbara, reporting for UBC TV News.
Now, some Ugandans are still engaged in partisan politics, though the country had enough of it during the recent elections. It is for this reason that the National Resistance Movement senior cadre, Haji Yusuf Mosesi, wants youth to forget their political differences and work with government. Let's take a look at these details.
It is now 10 months when Ugandans were deeply engaged in elective politics. But surprisingly, there are those who have gotten stuck in politicking and are yet to engage in beneficial work. Now a senior NRM cadre, Haji Yusuf Mosesi, says without hard work, unity and focus, some people, especially the youth, might not recover from the political era and continue wallowing in poverty.
I'd like to encourage the youth to be hardworking, to be honest in everything. Whatever assignment you are given, please do it honestly. Otherwise, you will perish.
This was during an NRM Abajungute forum aimed at encouraging religious leaders to work together in development. The gathering was at Kazi, Busabala in Wachiso district. The national coordinator of NRM Abajungute, Abdul Chilunda said preparations are underway to unite members of the NRM Bajungute without discriminating them.
Gattire wamu mu kukulakulanya eggwanga lyaffe ng'abanaddiini. Pulezidenti tumuwonye buli kaseera okutulaajanira abanaddiini mwegatte, abanaddiini mubeere kimu, abanaddiini kati ffe tulina abakadde, abavubuka, abalenzi, abasajja wamu ng'ate bapasita, bafaatha, baseeka.
Some women politicians commended the NRM government for involving them in politics with opportunities to contest against men and some beating them.
Togetherness, and it shows that even ladies can stand. Even we can contest with men, and we will. According to President Museveni, our president, the loved one,
is we can manage each and everything. For us, we can do what we can, because if you are trusted, that is the only key soul to do each and everything. Trustworthy.
Churches continue to advise masses to embrace vaccination and adhere to the social distancing SOP requirement as a way of curbing the COVID-19 pandemic. The mass vaccination exercise has been embraced by many, giving hope that more numbers would be allowed for the worship in the near future, rather, as this detail share with us.
On the 22nd of September, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni made a pronouncement on the reopening of churches for worshippers. Close to a month now, most of the churches have embraced the social distancing norm, washing of hands in the fight against COVID-19.
I want to assure you, it is not in the churches where people will catch COVID.
Churches have equally gone ahead to call on worshippers to take on vaccination, just like the rest of the world, as a way of protecting the worshippers from the deadly virus.
Invite the people to go for vaccination as one way of fighting COVID-19 pandemic.
The new norm, however, is for most of the churches to embrace digital broadcasting, using television and different social media platforms to reach to their masses.
I request that we continue using our tools as well, like online and media ministry, where possible, to reach out to the children, youth, and others who may still worship at home.
Churches, on the other hand, continue to request government to open churches fully as long as they can maintain the social distancing.
In opening up, there are many advantages to it. People's livelihoods, people can return to their livelihoods, children can go back to school, churches can open and can be able to more effectively address the social ills and evils that are plaguing our nation from this backlog of being locked up.
The Minister of Health is on the drive of having at least 7 million people vaccinated across the country, and so far many are taking up the jabs.
Leaders of born-again churches under the umbrella of the Upper Room Pastors Network are praying for the country against COVID-19 pandemic. This was at the conference organized by Bishop Joka Kembo of Mount Zion Prayer Summit in Gayaza and was braced by men of God from different parts of Uganda.
Ugandans have been advised to appreciate prayer and worship as a means to ensure stability in the country. The prayers were held under the theme Breath of Revival is Here and were led by Dr. Joseph Serwada.
We have come from about, let's say, 15 districts of the country, 15 districts of the country. People have come as far as beyond Jinja, as far as Kasanda, Mubende, Luwelo, Kampala, Masaka, and other places. And plus, we on Zoom, we on Facebook, and so many people from around the world are watching us live.
During the prayer session held under strict observance of SOPs, Believers were cautioned against lifestyles that might bring them into contact with coronavirus. The men of God said they pray that the nation goes back to its economic activities so that citizens are socially and economically empowered.
Unfortunately, the church in this area, and especially in the lockdown period, people have not been praying. But through prayer, we are going to overcome. We are going to overcome COVID-19, the third wave, and all other obstacles of the country. The other thing we are prayed for is the economy of the country, where we feel sad to hear that big investors, are leaving the country, and yet we need them to boost our economy. So we are prayed for the economy of Uganda, so that we sail out of the effects of the COVID-19.
Bishop Joe said they will continue supporting the government until the country goes back to normal operations. He asked the government to do everything possible to open schools in order to mitigate damages caused to the school-going children.
The major item also we are prayed for is the reopening of schools. Our children at home, they are getting impregnated, and even younger men are also getting jobs. Some of them don't want to come back to church or even going back to school. So we are prayed for immediate opening of schools. We pray that January schools will reopen.
They said that the prayer conference will continue in different parts of the country as they ask God for deliverance.
And that takes us for a short commercial break. When we return, we'll be back with business.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home, under the sun so bright, under the moon at night, on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey mama. At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Vaccinated today so we can get closer to the normal way of life. Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you to the world of business. The Association for Strengthening Agriculture Research in Eastern and Central Africa is presently implementing a project titled Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development X Pillar 4. The 5-year project is supported by European Union's Development Smart Innovation through research in agriculture, and according to the Interim Executive Director, Asereka, Dr. Enoch Warinda, the benchmarking exercise will attract researchers and scientists from 9 African countries. The benchmarking exercise will be hosted by Uganda National Agriculture Research Organization and will involve field visits, mentoring, training sessions, and peer learning. Researchers are expected from 9 member countries within East and Central region of Africa.
It brings together all the scientists, major scientists from 14 countries, where we want to look at regional problems, identify regional priorities that affect the agricultural research for development, and once we have identified these regional problems and regional priorities, we want to put them together in a mega project proposal. This proposal is to be shared with the EU member countries, to be shared with the World Bank, to be shared with the African Development Bank. We also want to target other donors who can support specific country-generated priorities and problems. And this exercise takes place from the 18th of October all the way to the 22nd of October. It is very, very important exercise where there's going to be a lot of learning. And it is very, very good. And we want to make sure that every year we organize this kind of an event, and we will be rotating to the other countries. Uganda has got a lot of technologies, a lot of things that the other countries can learn from. So we approached Uganda, the Naro, to host these other countries so that the countries can come and learn. So this benchmarking is to enable the countries, both strong and weak, to see what Uganda has done, and also to tell Uganda a few things that they might see Uganda may learn from. So it is for learning, both from the guests who will be coming and also for the host country.
But you feed them in a complete total mixed ration.
The COVID-19 pandemic adopted control measures have had a diverse effect on workers, leading to loss of jobs, wages, salary reductions, and business failure to provide social protection to workers. Trade union leaders are now calling upon employers and government to work together to mitigate the havoc caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in the labor market.
Wafanyakazi wote tujiunge pamoja, tulitenge hatari.
Trade union leaders affiliated to the National Organization of Trade Unions converged at Maria Flo Hotel in Masaka in a bid to pave way for government's continuous extension of social services to workers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. The workers' leaders expressed disappointment over the way National Social Security Boss is handling the issue of NSSF midterm access.
It is only Ministry of Labour that can make good regulations for that money, not Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance has been in denial of paying money. Even up to yesterday, you will see the MD goes there and says, there's no money. Now, how do you allow such a person? How do you allow such a person who is in Ministry of Finance to make for a regulation? So people must refuse. If they don't want regulations to be done in Ministry of Labour, workers will riot.
And we're also not going to allow individuals like Bergaba to confuse this country, because that is tantamount to treason. Once
all the holders, the stakeholders have agreed with the head of state, and you come and utter a different statement. That means is either undermining the president, undermining the workers' authorities, and he wants now to usurp those powers. So this is a clear warning, and we want to assure the workers we are not yet done. We are going to be focused more now on pursuing this bill up to its conclusion.
The workers' activists want Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority scrapped. Workers' Member of Parliament Charles Bakabolindi had his misgivings about workers' money.
I can assure you where we are now, if we talk one voice, not only government, even employers will listen to.
Workers' Member of Parliament Dr. Abdul Byakatonda appealed to labour unions to position themselves in order to benefit from government's programs.
Very fine. The midterm access has been a very challenging issue, which the President has okayed and amendments are being made. So I want to thank government for realizing this, and I feel as a committee, as a member of the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development, we are working tooth and nail to ensure that amendments as guided and as per stakeholders' engagements are enshrined into the bill before it goes back to Parliament. This work, we are trying to finish it up within a very shortest time possible. Of course, now the other thing of engagement is that we want to have guided the unions to position themselves properly with the worker force so that they benefit in the government programs.
Affiliated to the National Organization of Trade Unions for coming up with a stakeholders' position paper that will guide and help streamline working relations between trade unions, government, and the employers in a bid to promote workers' rights.
Be alert. Do not share your Airtel Money PIN number with anyone. Airtel Uganda employees will never ask for your Airtel Money PIN number on call, SMS, or by email. All SIM card registrations, SIM card verifications, or SIM swaps are done at clearly branded Airtel shops and not on phone. To report any fraudulent activity, please call 100 immediately. The official calling number for Airtel promotions is 0200 100 100. Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know. With you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home, under the sun so bright, under the moon at night, on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama. At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
We now take you across the borders, just here in Kenya. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta has unveiled East Africa's first public molecular imaging center at the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital at the outskirts of the capital, Nairobi. The ultra-modern medical facility is equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to offer comprehensive cancer management services and is part of the government's efforts to attain universal health coverage, a pillar of Kenya's Big Four development blueprint. Speaking at the facility's launch, Kenyatta said his administration had invested in the screening and treatment facility in response to the rising cases of cancer-related deaths in the country. He observed that the greatest bottleneck in the cancer management in the country, in Kenya, has been lack of adequate facilities for early diagnosis and accurate stage grouping, a challenge he said the new facility seeks to resolve. The new cancer treatment center is equipped with a 100-person hostel facility and is expected to save the country more than $100 million spent on cancer treatment outside the country annually. China launched the manned spaceship Shenzhou 13 early in the morning on October 16th, sending 3 astronauts to its space station's core module on a 6-month mission. The spaceship has docked successfully with a radar port of the core module Tianhe, according to the China Manned Space Engineering Office. And these are the details.
3 technos set out from Jiuquan to make history. They will spend the next 180 days on the Chinese space station, breaking the endurance record of Chinese technos in space. The Long March rocket and the Shenzhou 13 spacecraft served as an emergency backup for the Shenzhou 12 mission.
Our rocket's condition is very good. It wasn't affected by the fact that it has been parked for a long time. That is largely because of our meticulous care of it.
The 3 technos are commander of 56-year-old Zhai Zhigang, who was the first Chinese technos to perform a spacewalk in 2008. The other 2 technos, female technaut Wang Yaping, who will carry out a space lecture and a spacewalk, and Ye Guangfu makes his first trip into space after 11 years of training.
Although they've just gone through the test of the launch, there are tougher challenges ahead of them, because 6 months of spaceflight will be a test of their physical and mental qualities, their knowledge and skills, their psychological tolerance, their operations, and their ability to deal with emergencies. But I believe they'll be able to complete the mission and withstand the test.
The toughest challenge for 3 technos will be the long-term stay in space, thus their health will be closely monitored.
Uganda, today is a great day to work towards your dreams. Dial star 185 star 7 hash and select savings to save as low as 500 Ugandan shillings on regular savings or 250,000 Ugandan shillings for fixed deposits. Airtel Money Super Saver is powered by KCB Bank Uganda. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless. T's and C's apply.
In the world of sports, Vipers picked a routine win against Police to get their 2021-22 Uganda Premier League campaign up and running at Omondi Stadium in Lugogo. In a repeat of the Uganda Cup semi-final last month, Caesar Manzoki and Milton Karisa scored a goal each to replicate the scoreline at Njeru. Meanwhile, CCAFC climbed top of the Star Times Uganda Premier League standings thanks to a 3-0 over Wakiso Giants FC at the Kabaka Chabugu Stadium on Sunday, October 17th. Sadata Naku, Davis Kasirie and Ashraf Mugume scored the goals for the Kasasiro boys on a day they looked comfortable and in control.
And they gave Manzoki, a player of his stature and caliber, a striker, that much space to operate. That is a shame.
Yeah, that was a good pass from the captain, Paul Wheeler, but you must be disappointed.
Speculatively take the shot. The Venom faithfuls are not very happy, but that was a decent chance. A nice layoff there, dummy from Manzoki. He let that ball roll, but again, the man at the heart of Okes.
Uganda's under-12 tennis team has qualified for the Africa Junior Tennis Championship after their triumph in the boys category. At the games played in Lugogo, Abdul Latif Sendiowa, Tony Blair Owek Nimungu and Ambrose Biaruhanga put up a good show against three countries, that is Burundi, Kenya and Tanzania, to qualify for the Africa tourney due in Morocco. Head coach John Oduke said that they fielded the best team after an assessment from grassroots, and the boys have worked tirelessly for the achievement. This was the first time Uganda is hosting a tennis championship after the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the federation, and the federation believes that there is light at the end of the tunnel. 4 countries competed at the event in Lugogo, allowing the juniors to showcase their talent. And that brings us to the end of our 10 o'clock edition, this 70th day of October 2021. I tend to need to see the date. Let's take a look at our headlines.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Orthodox Church Pope urges Ugandans to observe SOPs. Premier Nabanja urges Elgon residents to plant trees. Pope Francis summons all bishops worldwide for a meeting. And Uganda wins East Africa Junior Tennis Under-12 Championship.
Was brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN.
Well, that brings us to the end. Thank you for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold Mugalu Muhammad on sign language. Thank you for watching UBC News Tonight.
It has been a blend of sunny intervals and cloudy conditions across the country. Msempa Alex came with the weather forecast from the Weather Center. Over the last 24 hours to 9 a.m. This morning, various parts of the country reported some rainfall, like Mubende reported 32.4 millimeters, while Bududa 11.3 and Arua reported 3.9 millimeters of rainfall. And the kind of weather we are dealing with is mainly attributed to the rain belt being quite aligned over a region that is also coupled with moist monsoon winds coming in from the southeastern into our region. In the morning, we do expect to see sunny intervals across our skies, though areas along the Lake Victoria shoreline, as well as parts of Mubende, Masindi, including Arua, are expected to have some rainfall. But in the afternoon, we do expect a pickup of rainfall activities in most parts of the country, though we do expect to be quite thundering in the western sector of the country that also will take on the eastern of the country. Because of that, we do expect temperatures to be relatively cool at 23 degrees centigrade to be across the Kavale Highlands. But for Karamoja region, it will be high at 32 degrees centigrade, whereas in the nation's capital, we'd expect to be a little bit cool at 27 degrees centigrade. Elsewhere across the globe, we are forecasting for Nairobi bright and sunny conditions at a daytime high over 27 degrees centigrade, whereas London and Moscow are expected to have some chances of rainfall, whereas Moscow is expected to be also cold at a daytime high of only 8 degrees centigrade and London at 17 degrees centigrade. With that, we wrap it up. Stay tuned and join us again tomorrow, same time.
vaccinated today.